Okay, maybe there are not a lot of things to see here in Governor's Island, but there are quite a few activities or sites you can see here in Governor's Island, especially if you like, you know, beautiful photography, shots of Manhattan skyline, or you want to enjoy some quiet day, or you really like military history and old military buildings and forts and castles. This is a good place to go. And it's such a quiet getaway from New York City. What's not to love? In today's adventure, I'm going to Governor's Island, just off of New York City. Governor's Island off of New York is really a cool place to just have a chill day. It's super quiet here. People love to bike around here or have a picnic or chill in hammocks or go see a couple old buildings, not just the Castle William behind me. So this castle was completed in 1811 and was meant to keep the British at bay and keep them from invading New York City, and it actually managed it because Castle William and Castle Clinton over near Battery Park were so intimidating and fortified the city so much that they didn't even try. And yeah, this castle is 40 feet high, which is pretty impressive. It's very round, so it's more like a fort than a castle, and you can go and visit. So while the castle was never actually captured, people who were in the war were put in here. It was a prisoner of war camp for a while, then afterwards became a community center, and now it's a museum. You can go on guided tours if you want and learn more about the military history of Governor's Island, because it used to be closed off to the public for nearly 200 years. It was a military camp, and it's been opened in 2006. I'm now standing in Connell's Row, which is where the quarters for the military were. Depending on your rank, they were prettier or less pretty houses. Behind me is the hospital here on Governor's Island. It is left quite closed, abandoned maybe, but it's still a pretty impressive and beautiful old building. Governor's Island is pretty much well suited for families and kids. There's lots to do. There's a zip line, there's a maze, there's different kind of bikes, or also family bikes or individual play bikes. But even if you're traveling solo and you don't have kids with you, that's totally fine. There's lots of things to do here on Governor's Island. There are also cafes, restaurants and food trucks in case you forgot to bring food. So you're taken care of. So I got a Korean taco with Korean fried chicken, interesting, and a house-made white peach iced tea with an ecological straw, because, you know, gotta support the environment, though this isn't very environmentally friendly. One reason why New Yorkers love Governor's Island so much is because it's so green. New York City is not the greenest city in the world, but Governor's Island is just like a big park and garden landscape. There's even urban farming a little bit over there, and here's winding paths through big fields of flowers. Right now most of them it's past their prime, so they're withering away, making way to the gorgeous fall colors which are coming soon. One of the chillest Governor's Island things to do here is Hammock Grove, because there's a hill with just hammocks waiting for you to snooze in. Don't forget to put on your sunscreen or you might end up waking red. Here's Just a fun fact, there's a couple of hills from which you have a beautiful viewpoint, such as Grassy Hill, Slide Hill or Discovery Hill, and they've not only been planted here because it's beautiful and a really great way to have a picnic, no, it's urban landscaping and helps prevent more storm like Sandy from wreaking havoc. It soaks up the rainwater so it doesn't flood beaches and sewer systems in New York City, so this is pretty smart, very sustainable and future long-term oriented city planning with nature, because, well, you have to work with nature, don't you? The hills are alive with the sound of New York City. It might not be super prominent, but there's also art here on Governor's Island. For instance, these sculptures, Life Without Tragedy it's called, and it's reminiscent of when democracy was basically formed in the theater in the old Greek Empire. And there's also a small gallery which you will find when you land on Governor's Island. It's just to your right hand side. I'm at South Battery. You can see the historic houses left and right, and a very special one with a modern painting, which is Our Lady Star of the Sea Chapel. It has very abstract faces painted on its white surface. It's very nice. Pretty much next door is the Chapel St. Cornelius, which looks more European in style. Neo-Gothic, I'd say. What you see around me is Nolan Park with beautifully restored wooden and pastel yellow houses, which kind of remind me of Sweden. Absolutely beautiful, and there's children's play zones down there, that's why it's so noisy. Lots of kids. And it seems that all of these houses contain some kind of project and information, such as about oysters, such as about trees and the island. And there's a children's art museum where kids can go crazy and let their creative souls play. The last stop in my little Governor's Island tour is Fort J. This was a major build when it was erected around 1800. It soon became outdated. It was built in a star pattern, and it caused more forts around the region to spread up for, purposes of defense. And it was officially closed in 1996. And now again, it's a museum and you can freely walk around it. It's really quite beautiful for a fort here on Governor's Island. From here, if needed, cannons could fire into both the East River and the Hudson River, and the moat was 40 feet wide, so that was pretty, well, unobtainable if you wanted to take it over, which nobody ever did. Here's an important tip which I didn't know until seconds ago. You only pay for one way, so coming down to the island going back is free. I was freaking out because I have literally just $1 on me and none of the ATMs on this island worked. So also bring enough cash with you, because some of the food stalls don't take credit card. So there's your tip, and you're welcome. And that was my quick little itinerary for Governor's Island off of New York City, and I hope you liked it. Give me a like, a thumbs up, and enable notifications. You know, the normal stuff. If you want to learn more, there's stuff on the blog, especially when it comes to ferry connection, especially what to do, how much time you should plan. I spent nearly 3 hours here today, and it would be much shorter if I didn't vlog everywhere, but also you should really enjoy this trip. So yeah, 3 hours are good. And remember, I walked everywhere. You can bike if that's totally fine. You can even bring your bike on the ferry, fine as well. And yeah, I hope to see you around. There's more blogs and vlogs coming soon about my trip to New York City and surrounds. Stay travel-tastic. See you soon. Bye.